The following is a presentation of HBO Sports. Four years have passed, and 15 fights between them. 4 years and God knows how many hours of running on streets like this. Running for nations where boxing isn't just a sport, it's religion. 4 years since their epic first meeting in the ring, and here they are again, headed once more for the same place, separated by only one thing: time. It was May 2004, a hot Saturday night in Las Vegas. Juan Manuel Marquez was the featherweight champion of the world, and challenger Manny Pacquiao was looking to erase a long Mexican stranglehold on the division.
Both fighters were searching for a higher level of identity and for a platform for proving not just how good they were, but who they were as fighters.
Some great fights take a few rounds to develop.
And he fires the straight left hand, and there's the punching mouth.
This one took just seconds.
So to see him get knocked down, that right there was surreal.
And Juan Manuel Marquez has been down twice.
To see him get knocked down twice more in the same round.
This is why we use the word sensation.
It was shocking.
Third knockdown of the first round, and I'm not sure Juan Manuel will be able to get up.
Oh God, this guy's a monster.
I think everybody was wondering, how long is he going to last against this relentless Tasmanian devil of a fighter?
But Marquez persevered through the Filipinos' early onslaught, and then, as the fight wore on, turned the punishment Pacquiao's way.
Hard right hand stuns Pacquiao, and it could be the comeback of a lifetime for Juan Manuel Marquez.
And the atmosphere ringside began to shift. Marquez somehow, improbably, was not only just surviving, he was taking over the fight.
Freddie Roach began to crack the whip in between rounds.
You don't let this guy take control of the fight, you hear me?
Pacquiao soon found a way to regroup himself, recovering with a vengeance.
Pacquiao's hand speed coming back. Suddenly he's more aggressive.
Pacquiao's sheer level of violence and energy would rise up and put Marquez back in compromising positions.
Things ended as fiercely as they had begun that night in Vegas. But after 12 rounds, there was no victor. It would be left to the judges to render a verdict for history to record.
The bout is a draw.
4 years later, the matter remains unsettled. This is the countdown to a resolution. This is the countdown to Marquez Pacquiao 2.
Little pivot, come on, use that pivot.
A boxer's memory can be a useful tool.
One hook.
And in Manny Pacquiao's case, as he prepares for his rematch with Juan Manuel Marquez, his memory of the night of May 8th, 2004 remains particularly vivid and haunting.
30 seconds left in the first. Marquez has been down 3 times already.
I dropped him 3 times in the first round, and I told myself I couldn't believe it.
And Pacquiao lands another huge left and another big one.
We had such a fast start and exciting start with 3 knockdowns in the first round. I thought the fight was over.
Manny Pacquiao is a storm.
Marquez survived. He weathered the storm and came back the next round.
Marquez gained momentum as the fight wore on, and even dominated the action at times.
Last chance to make a statement as the bell gets ready to ring. What a battle.
Manny Pacquiao has huge heart and huge desire, and he thinks of himself as a guy who should never lose. I think it was embarrassing to him that he could knock a guy down 3 times in the first round, fail to finish him, and then wind up in a draw.
The bout is a draw.
He felt that he let the Filipino people down. He felt that he didn't live up to his country's expectations. And I think he believed that he didn't live up to Freddie Roach's expectations, his own expectations.
I feel like I'm crying because I do my best in that fight, and the decision is draw.
After that fight, I get a lot of criticism that Manny was just a one-handed fighter. So I said, you know what? I'm going to make him a better fighter, and we just worked really, really hard on the right hand, the jab and the hook. And slowly it came, and then he started knocking guys out with the right hand as well as the left.
And that's a stop it.
I just wanted to improve him and improve to the people that I could make him a better fighter.
The work has paid off. Pacquiao's 8 fights since Marquez have included 2 victories against Erik Morales in an epic trilogy. And most recently, a decisive win over yet another Mexican legend, Marco Antonio Barrera.
I think Manny Pacquiao has made clear what he learned, because his boxing skills have improved significantly since that time. I mean, consider, he was already a recognized world champion, and he got better technically in the middle of his career. Not very many fighters are able to pull that off. And I think that the Marquez fight was probably the graphic object lesson which helped to convince Manny that he needed to improve his level of craft, and he did.
Well, I'm same fighter, Manny Pacquiao, but since 2004, 4 years ago, I think I learned a lot of experience and a lot of techniques.
Techniques he looks forward to displaying for Juan Manuel Marquez on March 15th. 7,000 feet above sea level, atop centuries-old Aztec ruins, sits Mexico City, one of the world's largest metropolises, and where each night, on his way home from the Romanza gym, Juan Manuel Marquez navigates winding and busy streets and reflects on what might have been.
Marquez waited years for a chance to rise to the top in the division. Here was the opportunity.
Después del primer round, que fue un infierno para mí, lo que teníamos que usar era la inteligencia. En ese primer round salí confiadísimo.
And in round 1, Manny Pacquiao suddenly shut out the lights.
Fue una pelea difícil, muy difícil, porque Manny Pacquiao tenía una velocidad en extremo y una manera de boxear no muy clara.
This is not the fight that Juan Manuel Marquez would have wanted.
What Marquez prefers to focus on from that night is not the 3 knockdowns, but rather the remarkable comeback that ensued in the 11 rounds that followed.
Marquez had figured him out. Now the question in your mind becomes, could Marquez win so many rounds that he'll actually make up for the first round deficit and catch Manny in the fight?
Conforme transcurrían los rounds, nosotros sabíamos y tenía la certeza de que íbamos ganando los rounds en aquella pelea.
That confidence propelled Marquez to the final bell, but the judge's decision was far from what he thought he deserved.
Después de que dieron el resultado no quedé conforme, porque después de levantarme del primer round de las caídas y de hacer un gran trabajo, 11 rounds, y después nos dicen que la pelea era empate, que yo creo que hice el desempeño para ganar, merecí ganar y no quedé conforme con lo que dieron en ese 2004.
The draw against Pacquiao and the resilient courage he showed in the ring that night led to calls for a rematch and a chance for Marquez's star to grow further. But when he wasn't happy with the money being offered, he turned down the deal. Over the next few years, as epic rivalries between Morales, Barrera, and Pacquiao blossomed and dominated the division, Marquez was left to watch from a distance.
Pues yo creo me sentía mal que yo creo que se estaba repartiendo, como quien dice, las grandes peleas.
If anybody's tarnished from that draw, it should be Manny, right? But it was Marquez who couldn't get the fights that he wanted and couldn't get the exposure that he wanted after the draw with Pacquiao. It was Marquez whose career more or less went back into the dumper.
It's not necessarily the best fighter who gets paid the most. It's the most popular fighter. Marquez